Hey guys, my name's Dan, and this reaction comes from Dead Meat. This is Frankenhooker 1990 Kill Count. Now, this is certainly a movie that had a lot going on with it, especially considering the title of this movie. So you knew there were going to be a lot of crazy stuff happening within it, and we'll get into all of that. Very curious to see what they have to say about it, because it should be a lot of fun, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of fun reviewing it. But before we get into all that, though, please check all those links I have for you down in the description below. More specifically, the Dead Meat link if you haven't already. It's a great way to support the entire Dead Meat team, and a great and easy way to support me is to go right below this video and click all those buttons down there, because I'll let you see future reactions that I do, but also my channel to grow. And without any further ado, let's go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies and
I always love his outfits.
and show you how they were made. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Frankenhooker, released in 1990. Weird year for horror. Frankenhooker was co-written and directed by Frank Henenlotter, who gave us Basket Case. Everyone knows I freaking love Basket Case. Sure. It is the most homespun wild shit I've ever seen. The sequels were much more polished and humorous, and the same thing can be said about Frankenhooker, which was made between Basket Cases 2 and 3, The Progeny. Now, if you couldn't tell from the title, this is obviously a super sexual movie. If that's gonna bug you, don't watch it. It's fine, not everything is for everyone. But this one is for me. I like this kind of sleaze, it's interesting to me. Henenlotter's an exploitation filmmaker who means well, kind of like John Waters. Even though this movie is silly as hell, he infuses it with feminist themes, like the fact that sex workers are people too, and that women should be able to control their own bodies. And this is thematic analysis, by the way, based on the filmmaker's own words. It's part of what we do on this show. Right? So calm down. I don't adore Frankenhooker like I do Basket Case, partly because it's more comedic, but also, like, dude, Frankenhooker herself is great, but a friggin' hour goes by until she shows up. I mean, don't get me wrong, the main guy is acted really well, and there are a surprising number of layers to his character. But still, I'm watching Frankenhooker for Frankenhooker's monster.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you want to see that, you want to see the character introduced sooner, because, you know, why else are we watching this movie?
Dr. Frankenhooker, know what I mean? Still, this is my favorite kind of movie to kill count. It's weird, it's unique, it's heartfelt, and it's got wacky kills.
Agreed with all that. Whoa! Hey!
Yeah, what the hell?
I don't know.
There's a ceiling right there. Sorry, where was I? I think I was about to talk about, Fracon?
Raycon!
Fracon? Sorry, I meant today's sponsor, Raycon.
There you go.
Trying to talk about Raycon. Their updated everyday earbuds feature an ergonomic design, active noise cancellation, and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair 2 devices at once. It's part of what makes Raycons my go-to choice for enjoying premium audio at an accessible price. I use them when I'm working on a script, taking Molly out, or when I'm lifting weights, trying to get as fit as James Willems. Damn, that other James is buff. And I'm able to do all
Oh, no.
Snap out of it. I have a kill count to do. I have to talk about. I have to talk about.
He keeps on having to fix this. Oh, I love it.
I'm able to do all that while rocking my fun royal blue earbuds. One of many vibrant colors Raycon offers to change up the standard black and white options. And all this while Raycon started just half the price of other premium audio brands. And that's just their standard deal. You can save even more by going to buyraycon.com/deadmeat to get in on their Black Friday offer of up to 30% off site-wide. That's buyraycon.com/deadmeat. Is it done? Am I free?
I think so.
Okay.
All right.
How many ladies of the night have to die to create one Frankenhooker? Let's find out and get to the kills. The movie begins with an eyeball! Wait, is this the subject again? Nope, it's just science. Mad science. Jeffrey Franken's the kind of guy who messes with—
well, at least it's not weird science, even though that is a completely different movie.
eyeballed brains in jars. They even transmit FMV game footage. Sweet! Until one hammer strike too many and that thing goes up in flames. Jeff's doing this shit at his fiance's house where they're celebrating her dad's birthday. That's why Elizabeth's decked out in only the finest early 90s inflatable fashion. That's actually just a very bad fat suit. The whole thing here is she's supposed to be heavy. I guess everywhere but her face. Meanwhile, birthday dad's out here looking like Gordy with a rubber apron on too? What are you about to do dishes on your birthday, dude? Elizabeth presents to him a gift, a robo lawnmower courtesy of Dr. Franken.
This is your day. I don't want any credit.
An eager but ill-advised demonstration of the machine gets Elizabeth killed when it cuts her down and chops her up.
Whoopsie! Oh, such a good scream.
She's eloquently eulogized by a newscaster with a metal plate in her head.
The vivacious young girl was instantly reduced to a tossed human salad, a salad that police are still trying to gather up. A salad that...
That freaking line! Oh, it killed me.
Was
Oh
once
my
named
God.
Elizabeth.
From her death comes lightning flashes and title card, as Jeffrey spends the opening credits doing a bunch of science and muttering to himself.
Now E equals MC squared at this point here.
Yeah, but only at that point there. And,
Only at that
which
point.
scientific equation makes them paper kisses taste so good?
Ew.
He's stolen away Elizabeth's head, though he apparently wasn't too slick about it.
You have no idea what happened to the head?
I don't know. I didn't see it. The last time I saw it, it was
Yeah, I'm not
it was
looking
spinning
suspicious
through
at
the
all.
air. I don't.
He just won't
Nope.
accept this as her end, no matter what his mom tries to tell him.
Elizabeth's dead. Life goes on.
But why should he give up? He's a successful mad scientist. He's even got old eyeball brain back up and running. Jeffrey actually attempts to talk through his feelings of isolation with his mom.
I'm antisocial.
Same.
I'm becoming dangerously amoral.
But she just
No,
offers
not
a sandwich
same.
in response as a way to avoid the conversation. Come on, lady. He was trying to open up. His mom's played by Louise Lasser, best known as Mary Hartman in Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. And also, for Dead Meat fans, from her role 3 years prior as the mom in Blood Rage. Yeah, we've all been there, lady. With no emotional support, Jeffrey gets back to his weird science, popping open his freezer full of bubbling purple brew. That's where he keeps Elizabeth's head. That is, when he's not having dinner with it and her other body parts. Oh, man, I forgot how much YouTube hates severed body parts.
Yeah, they sure do.
I'm sorry for all these blurs, this sucks. He plans to use lightning from a storm 2 days away to bring her back to life. He learns about it from a weather report presented by TV horror host John Zachary, who voiced the parasite Elmer in Henenlotter's ridiculous brain damage.
Oh my God.
Since that movie, which rules, was non-union, Henenlotter couldn't credit Zachary, so he gave him this cameo as a favor. Jeffrey's got a whole catalog of body options for Elizabeth's head.
How about this model? A visit to the sweet shop. I can make you into anything you want.
Yeah, anything she wants, dude, sure. Considering those Michelin Man clothes were supposed to make her look overweight, it's clear Jeffrey is using this opportunity to rebuild Elizabeth how he wants her, rather than how she was. Problem is, if he wants sexier body parts, they're gonna have to come from someone who's alive. How to acquire those parts is such a brain teaser, he needs to physically stimulate his mind. He does so with a power drill he spins up and sticks into his skull, really swirling up his imagination. It does the trick, and he realizes he can get what he needs by exploiting the most vulnerable among us, sex workers in the city.
Hey, you looking for some action? On a date?
He pulls over and says he's looking for parts. Yes, beautiful parts. And parts these ladies have.
Oh my.
His fat wad drives this chick Honey insane, so she agrees to get him a few girls for a parts party. As long as it's cool with her pimp Zorro. She ain't talking about Antonio Banderas. Zorro is the lord of these nether realms, ruling by decree of muscles and spray tan. Oh, and drugs. Yeah,
All the
drugs are
drugs.
probably the most effective way he rules. He pushes crack on everyone, which is killing them. So Jeffrey decides to buy some and create super crack. Eureka! With it, he'll be able to peacefully kill the sex workers whose bodies he needs. In fact, it's not even really killing them. You know, it's more like letting them die.
I'm not shooting anyone. I'm not stabbing anyone. Nobody has a gun to their head. If they don't want to do it, they can just say no.
This, of course, directly quotes First Lady Nancy Reagan's campaign against drugs. Henenlotter's always been as political as he's been subversive. You can see that in the TV cameo by the late Beverly Bonner,
Oh,
who's
sure,
Casey in Basket Case. Credited as Casey in this movie as well, she advocates for legalization of sex work.
I'm talking about women selling their bodies because they no longer have any other choice.
Frankenhooker's seedy setting and subject matter was inspired by Henenlotter's time shooting brain damage. That was done on the west side of New York City, where he was a first-hand witness to the crack boom and its effects. In contrast, Frankenhooker was partly filmed in a studio warehouse near Greenwich Village, back-to-back with Basket Case 2. It was a quick shoot, only 6 weeks. Henenlotter, a true blue indie filmmaker, didn't love the tight schedule and union crew, since it meant he had less freedom and improvisation on set. Still, a union film with a few $1 million behind it was huge for some of these people.
Going from the really low budget films that I started with, like Bad Girls Dormitory, Robot Holocaust, Young Nurses in Love, Deranged, to a $5 million budget film.
Yeah,
and he was
that's
like,
a
holy
big jump.
shit, I'm gonna be in this huge Hollywood movie.
Jeffrey tests his product by billowing the super crack into a rodent's cage and talking to it like it were a sex worker. Is that part necessary?
If you weren't a guinea pig, I'd jump in that cage myself.
Careful, dude. You sound like you're gonna blow.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, I meant Jeffrey, but okay. He heads back to the streets where he enlists the help of Honey to gather up a bunch of girls. She introduces him as Dr. Jersey Boy, and he gets to work poking, prodding, and measuring parts.
This is a perfect 18 in diameter.
The ladies wonder when they're gonna get to the sex part, but this guy's only interested in science and doing graduate references.
This reminds me of St. Louis Arch.
After crawling through enough crotch, he eventually finds all the grade A ass he's looking for. Great, then they won't have to keep Zorro waiting, since he's here to pick up his girls.
Hey Zorro, what's up?
Just waiting for my bitches. They should be down in a few minutes.
Oh, good.
Henenlotter sure loves his motel clerks. Also, why did that "what's up" sound like Bloodhound Gang and Moe?
Hey Pac-Man,
What's up?
Hey Zorro, what's up?
Bitches, I'm high on crack!
Oh, wow, that actually works real well with Zorro. Jeffrey has
Oh,
second
Bloodhound
thoughts,
Gang.
ethical thoughts, and decides he can't kill these ladies. He throws money at them to get them to leave, but then they find the super crack, and that gets them going.
Look at this, girl! The party ain't over yet!
The near-nude ladies hold Jeffrey down as they get real high, then take their clothes off and dance around the room. You know, some critics describe this movie as having softcore porn elements, but I just don't think you can smoke crack and still call it softcore. Oh, wait, actually, never mind, yeah, it does look like softcore.
Yes, it
But
does.
don't get distracted by the debauchery. Remember what happened to that guinea pig? Well, ladies, it'll happen to you.
It'll happen to you.
A woman named Angel blows the fuck up and earns her wings, a casualty of the super crack side effects. Pretty soon, the 7 other chicks start to blow up as well, in a very unique way for a horror movie. Instead of blood and guts, these are clearly mannequins that are exploding and showing their foam edges. But hey, it's charming, whatever. It's like a crappy old school magic trick or something.
Yeah,
the
it's
best one
fine.
is Chartreuse.
I'm okay
who's
with it.
fully posed on her hands and knees for her explosion. Also, just a note, there are only 6 on-screen explosions. We see Snow, Amber and Anise, Monkey, Crystal, and Chartreuse explode. There's a 7th chick named Sugar who they don't show exploding, but I'm pretty sure she didn't make it out of there. In the end, only Honey is still alive and pissed, but not for long since she too bursts apart, her head flying through the air and knocking Zorro unconscious. Thanks, Honey. While I prefer my exploitation films to go nuts with blood and guts, the obvious artifice of these bodies was fully intentional. Henenlotter wanted the movie to be more comedic and not get too gory as it exploded sex workers.
Yeah, and I can certainly appreciate horror with comedy.
He hoped it would help with the MPAA.
This film has to have a strong comedy element. The ratings board is already going to be looking at it with an eagle eye.
But it didn't. They slapped it with an X rating, so the movie was released unrated, causing its box office intake to be a mere $200,000.
Yeah, that's not good.
The exploding bodies were made by Gabe Bartalos, who had done effects makeup on Brain Damage, including creating Elmer. He's one of the most underappreciated artists in the game. Dude did the Leprechaun makeup for all of Warwick Davis's movies.
Nice.
I might be biased thanks to my history with a little shit, but I think it's one of the best villain designs in all of horror.
I can agree with that.
Bartalos couldn't cheat or hide equipment anywhere because the characters were so scantily clad. So he made full-body alginate casts of all the women in their final poses, which were intentionally complex as a sort of challenge. The dummies were made out of rigid foam and urethane that were then painted before they exploded. It made for a crowded set.
There was always prostitute parts laying around. There was legs and feet and,
so weird.
you know, all kinds of stuff around.
Jeffrey apologizes to the room of body parts and promises to put them back together again. He collects the pieces in trash bags and takes them back to his lab. Let's see what's on the slab. I see him shiver with anticipation. Now that he can finally have a fiancée again, Jeffrey chooses from an armory of arms, a buffet of boobs, and a litany of legs. He chooses the best of each kind and curses his faults in organization.
The hell did that get in there?
When he's done, he puts all the spares in his estrogen-based soup, promising to put the other ladies back together later. But not right now. He's got more important things to do.
Oh, God, Elizabeth. I love you so much.
Jeffrey's played by James Lawrence, whom Henenlotter cast based on his performance in 1987's Street Trash. That's another crazy one, y'all. I think he does great, and it sounds like he took the role pretty seriously.
Working with James was difficult, and he had a real attitude. He was he was just such a diva.
I thought that lady was joking at first, but man, she did not let up.
Well, what about this? And what about this? And it's like, well, you just fucking measure my arm. It's a 2-second shot.
The storm moves in
Damn.
overhead, but Jeffrey ain't fishing
That's a
for
shame.
Black Cloud Wreckers. He's ready to zap life into his Frankenbabe. It's about damn time, too. We're almost an hour into Frankenhooker and have yet to see Frankenhooker.
Yeah, seriously.
He goes through the usual motions of mad science. You ever think about how damn influential OG Frankenstein was? It's just endlessly imitated. And in this case, exceeded, if only in height of platform. The extra yards get the job done, and Monstro Franken Elizabeth is all the juice she needs. And then some. In fact, she's already standing upright by the time he brings her back down and unveils her in all her purple glory. Ladies and gentlemen, there we have her. It's Frankenhooker.
Elizabeth.
Want a date? Going out? Looking for some action?
She doesn't recognize Jeffrey, so she knocks him to the ground. This creation isn't under his control. She's ready to hit the town. Right after she puts on her face. There, much better. She gets on a subway where she weirds everyone out and spikes the camera. Stop. Aw, and leave that poor little Zepp head alone. Look how uncomfortable he is with those purple boobs in his face. The trademark Frankenhooker face was suggested by Henenlotter.
Patty, just make the face like you're completely just spazzing out.
The only other direction he gave for the character was for her to walk like Boris Karloff. Elizabeth/Frankenhooker is played by Patty Mullen, who I think was the last one cast.
I think he was almost like at a point where he really had to pick somebody.
She had been a Penthouse model who won Pet of the Year in 1987. The next year, sex worker Amber's actress Kimberly Taylor won Pet of the Month for December. The other sex worker actresses consisted of models, some actual sex workers, and a few actresses who mostly worked in this kind of fare.
I was in a G-string, which was like my costume for the whole movie was G-string and tits. So my costume in most of my movies was a G-string and tits, actually.
In the interviews I watched, they all said Henenlotter was nice, patient, energetic, and collaborative. Seems like they had a great time on set.
This one I had it entitled Frankensluts, and you should see the look on our faces. You can tell we're just having a great time.
That's awesome.
We just were having so much fun.
Jeffrey comes to and runs back to the streets, where he asks if anyone has seen a purple lightning zombie.
Have you seen them around here?
Oh yeah, 4 of them. We haven't had 2 for myself.
What are you talking about? What are you, some kind of a Swede? You're talking to me in Swedish in Times Square.
Dude, was it a law that if you shot something in Times Square in the late 80s, you had to include the Batman logo? Frankenhooker's out on the grind, asking people if they want a date or are looking for some action.
Want a date? You going out? You looking for some action?
Just like I said. When they don't respond, she simply pushes them away. She's just pushing everyone around. One guy finally takes her up on her offer and gets a room with her at what seems to be the city's only hotel. She takes him to the same room where all her parts were harvested and strips down to reveal purple nips. Her John don't mind, and why should he? This ass has clearly passed quality control. But I guess she is a little too hot for him, since she heats him until he too turns into a foam body and explodes. Tough break, but it sounds like he got what he paid for.
That was wonderful.
With the job well done, Frankenhooker collects her fee and heads down the hall, where she runs into another potential client. This guy ain't looking to pay, though.
How about if I stick my tongue down your throat?
She puts an end to that shit right away by electrocuting him through the mouth or whatever. I don't know. But he blows up and his head goes flying into a trash can. Then it's right back to work. Damn, Franken Elizabeth has Maxine Mink's tenacity. She out there trying to earn that cash.
Party! Want a party?
Elizabeth's undead look was also done by Bartalos, who wanted to make her beautiful yet monstrous.
I got the biggest crush on him by the end of the movie. I love Gabe.
The prosthetics and makeup took hours to apply.
3 hours later.
It also took hours to take off, so sometimes Patty Mullen would just drive home and do it herself, freaking out any passersby who happened to see her.
I put my arm out to pay the toll. And the guy, hey, you know how New Yorkers are. Hey, monster woman.
Elizabeth ends up at a tin bar, tended by Pee-wee's neighbor, Mrs. Steve. Zorro's there too, bemoaning all his blown up girls.
When a man loses his house, he loses everything.
Oh, yeah, I remember learning that in poli-sci. That guy starts chatting up Elizabeth, but she's only able to repeat things said by the sex workers before they died. That includes mentioning Zorro's name, which he overhears. He comes over and watches as his bar buddy climbs underneath the table to, service Frankenhooker. Instead, he's foreplayed out to the end, getting electro-zapped and blown apart like the usual. Zorro sees his trademark Z tattooed on her arm and demands to know who the hell she is. Then he punches her head right off. Oh man, yeah, that's gonna send people scrambling.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, well,
it would send me scribbling.
Hey, be honest, Doc. How bad does it look? I love this effect, which looks like it was done with someone leaning forward in a black mask while an animatronic head hung backwards from their shoulders. Cool stuff. Jeffrey's still looking for Elizabeth.
That was pretty neat.
He gets pointed in the right direction by a sandwich board sidewalk preacher. He's played by Jan Saint, who was also the carnival proprietor in Basket Case 2. Jeffrey gets to the bar as Elizabeth just about shorts out. But no matter, he puts her head back on and guides her out of there. Maybe careful with her head in the car. There it is. Accelerated so quickly. Now you're gonna have to break out the bolts. Classic Frankenblend. With the fixes in place, Jeffrey plugs her in again and hopes to have a better second go. Or third go?
You're not a hooker, Elizabeth. You're not. You're not.
Of course I'm not. Why in the world would you ever say anything like that, Jeffrey?
Oh, here we go.
Third time's a charm. Now she's speaking with Elizabeth's voice and has her memories again. She seems pretty jazzed about her resurrection, all things considered, until she realizes her fiancé has made some alterations.
These aren't my arms. This isn't my hand. These aren't my legs. This
Nope.
isn't my breast. Look at me. What have you done?
Henenlotter himself considers this a feminist film. In a 2013 interview, he said, "I've always been fond when women embrace Frankenhooker because they see past the TNA and realize that that son of a bitch tried to fix her." Jeffrey starts off seeming like the hero, but we quickly see how unethical he acts to essentially create a living sex doll. I mean, the dude has to drill away parts of his brain to come up with a plan that ends up reducing women to literal parts.
Ugh.
Jeffrey tells Elizabeth to calm down and that it's okay. He loves her. But while he's yapping, Zorro sneaks in, grabs a blade, and fucking just chops his head off.
Bam!
Wow, what a quick end for the main character. Damn. Zorro says that Frankenhooker is still his property and calls her by the names of all her composite cadaver contributors. That awakens the rest of their body parts from the goop tank, since earlier during the lightning ceremony, they also received a good zapping. They shake the storage cooler until it knocks over and spills out the entire goop troop.
Yeah.
Oh,
That-
man, look at these things.
Oh shit, get the fuck away from me!
I love these disgusting body part creatures
so
that
good,
look Brian
man.
Usna-esque. He's the madman who gave us the shunting and a whole lot of goopy fleshy stuff like this.
See
But
that.
this is more great work by Bartalos. This monstrosity, which he named the Titty Twister, was a large puppet with a remote-controlled head. To accommodate the puppeteers operating this thing, the floor of the lab set had to be raised 4 feet off the ground. The body parts have their way with Zorro and kill him by dragging him back inside the freezer to be put on ice. That leaves Elizabeth with some peace and quiet, and Jeffrey's head, and she knows just what to do with that. The movie ends with Jeffrey waking up to Dr. Frankenhooker, who's sewn his head back to his body. Or, sorry, a body.
Holy shit! That's not my hand! What are these boobs? Elizabeth, what did you do to me?
This is like the world's most inappropriate carnival cutout. Since his serum only works with estrogen, she's given him a female body. Now, Jeffrey, ain't you so pleased with super science?
Yeah!
How many bodies wound up on the old Frankenhook? Let's find out and... Oh, shit, I need a to the numbers bit.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, yeah!
It's right behind me the whole time.
Perfect.
Some crack.
Oh, God! I love that.
There were 15 kills in Frankenhooker, with the first 10 victims female and the final 5 male. That gives us a pie chart with a 2-to-1 ratio of lady to dude victims, and a count and gender breakdown we've only seen twice before, in Scream 4 and Fear Street Part 1, 1994. With a runtime of 84 minutes, Frankenhooker had a kill on average every 5.6 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill collectively to all the prostitutes blown up by Jeffrey's super crack. Sure, it ain't gory, but it's still wild. and
Yeah, it is
probably
very.
the most memorable part of the movie. Henenlotter says it's his favorite sequence he's ever done. The All Machete for lamest kill will go to Elizabeth. It's an important inciting incident, but it all happens off screen, aside from that poor little lawn gnome getting splattered with blood.
Yeah,
and that's
seriously.
it. Frankenhooker came out in 1990, and despite Patty Mullen's interest, there's never been a sequel.
I keep telling them to do a Frankenhooker 2. Frankenhooker goes to Mars. Frankenhooker goes surfing.
Next week you get 2 episodes. Be thankful for that. But until then, I'm James A. Janice. It's been the Kill Count.
On the next Kill
let's see what we
Count.
got next.
In 2007, director Eli Roth made a fake trailer for a new vision of holiday horror. 16 years later, it finally came
Oh,
to life.
snap! It's finally here!
On the anniversary of a tragedy that rocked the town of Plymouth, Massachusetts, a killer has come to carve up its ungrateful residents.
Gather round the
I've been looking
table,
forward to
everyone.
this.
It's the Pilgrim Reaper, John Carver, here to celebrate the day on everybody's lips.
It's Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is a slasher whodunit in the vein of Scream and its imitators, which it references heavily. It's got as many suspects as side dishes.
Be careful who you trust.
Honestly, it may be too many.
You've met Detective Chu, yeah?
I can't remember if I did. I can't even remember if he made it into the kill count. But at least this cast of killable teens and colorful locals are fun to watch.
Wonderful!
Almost as fun as watching them die.
Dinner is served.
This week, silence your bickering relatives and gather around the table for Thanksgiving.
This is insane.
Then on Wednesday, be thankful for a special festive kill count, only on Dead Meat.
Thanksgiving is an institution.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait to get into that. But this one was something I was surprised that I liked. I was going into it. It kind of seemed, I don't know, it kind of not really something for me, but I loved the blend of the comedy and the horror within it. I loved all the kills, even all the prostitutes when they just blew up. Though that looks super freaking cool. I'll echo what he said about the main woman dying at the very beginning. Well, I don't want to see that off screen. I mean, if you're gonna release the unrated version, you might as well show something more there. But I thought it was great. I thought the message was perfect. I laughed so much at some of those lines, and then at the end, it ended perfectly with things being turned around on him, with his head being on a female body. I just loved it. It's not the best horror movie I've ever seen. It's not the best comedic horror movie I've ever seen, but it certainly was an enjoyable watch. But that's going to do it for me here. Comment down below. Let me know, what did you think about Frankenhooker? Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. Check all those links I have for you down in the description below. Then lastly, and most importantly, I want to give a huge shout out to all my $5 and up supporters on Patreon. Luchador, Cruising, Wolverine 310, Kester Cronage, Joseph McSweeney, Raymond Bright, Joshy, Chris Curtis, Ann Perry, Fox Coffany, Misa 2, Lily the Snoopy Fan, Jenny the Swifty, Allison the Aesthetic Girl, Flea Street Viscount, Emily the Flower Lover, Sophie the Sunset Girl, Some of the Dog Lover, Misa 3, Arrow Hamster, Inca Linquist, Aubrey the Charlie Brown Lover, Thomas Shawanowit, Carter Resnick, Kamu Bethia, NB Cardle, and Chris. And if you two would like to have a shout out and then each and every one of my videos, please head on over to patreon.com/TheDanReactor for more. And I will see you guys next time.